All right, so this next one is great, and it's something that it's an artist that I've heard of and I know a little bit about, but to be honest, I hadn't, my focus had not been drawn to her. And it's Ann Peebles, "Straight from the Heart" is the album specifically that we're talking about. And you got the vinyl copy, of course, which is looking super sexy over there. Nice little sealed copy. I like it. Um, yeah, I didn't know that much about her. I know that some of my hip hop buddies, are kind of some of the deeper crate digger types, like the Numero, type of people. Definitely probably were more aware of her than I was personally. But you drew my attention to it by sending it to me with this note here. "Good God Almighty, Memphis baby, Grimes and Hodges Brothers." Yeah, it's definitely a killer rhythm section. I mean, I popped this on, and like we were talking about on the phone, it's just like, man, she could follow James Brown and nobody would bat an eye. I mean, it is just hard hitting. It's just so funky, so groovy, so tight. And like we've been saying, something about this era of the 70s and what rhythm sections sound like is something I've just been really fascinated with and into. Just the way drums went down on tape and then the way it translates. If you're fortunate enough to have a vinyl copy, there's just something about the feel, like the air in the grooves you almost hear. It's a little less compressed maybe. And the songs are amazing. We were just kind of talking about this as we were listening to it together. And man, I mean, I think my favorites are "Slipped, Tripped, and Fell in Love" and "Somebody's on Your Case, Better Get on the Job." I mean, that just made me smile when I was driving around the car. And I've just been enjoying listening to it. It's just great. Yeah, great funk stuff. Super fun. High records. Yeah, what can you tell us about Ann Peebles?
Well, I'm no Ann Peebles scholar, but I know what I like. And first thing to say about it is you've touched on, it's on High Records, the house of Willie Mitchell, who brought so many incredible R&B tunes that are still threading through our lives right now. Of course, Al Green is the iconic big name, but Ann Peebles, O.V. Wright, Syl Johnson, all these hits that came out and just had this ungodly rhythm section on 98% of them. The Hodges Brothers, Leroy Charles and Teeny Hodges, and Grimes, Al Grimes Howard Grimes on drums, and that was an unstoppable rhythm section. I mean, Stax had their thing with the whole Booker T and the MGs, and Isaac Hayes and the Bar-Kays and that whole sound. That was awesome. But when you hear a High record with the Willie Mitchell production, there's no doubt of what you're hearing, and it's so on point. It's just deep, deep in the pocket, and the arrangements are just ridiculous, and it just is a groove and undertow to it that is really unparalleled in to me in popular music or in R&B music. And Peebles, I mean, the name of the record is "Straight from the Heart," and that kind of says it all. Like you said, it kicks off with "Slip, Trip, and Fell in Love." That's kind of, a little bit more lighthearted in some ways. Some of her songs are really deep from the soul. They are straight from the heart. They're the darker side or the painful side of life, of emotional life. And this was 1972. And of course, she followed up not long after that in 74 with "I Can't Stand the Rain," which was just an iconic powerhouse of a song. Lowell George went on to record it on his one solo record. And anyway, Ann Peebles brings a lot to the table. Her voice is just unbelievable, and in combination with those guys from High Records. And there's some really amazing tunes on this thing. The one that I just find so incredible, just because it's just so honest. I mean, I feel like breaking up somebody's home tonight. I mean, that's a spin on a love ache that is not always in the title of a song. I mean, I guess you had Luther Ingram of "Loving You Was Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right," and there's lots of them like that through history, but feel like breaking up somebody's home tonight, that's it. I mean, that just lays it out there. This is the real, painful, what's going on in my house, in my heart, in my neighborhood kind of music. And I think it speaks through the decades rather beautifully. It's just amazing. And I'll say also the record, right here, is a lot of these high records are in reissue. I don't know if it's licensing or whatever, but I've got to give a big shout out to our homies down at Fat Possum Records. They are trying their best, and they're bringing this music back out. A lot of it has been in and out of print over the years, licensed here, absorbed by this company there, out of print back here. But a lot of it is now back available, and this is one of the real treasures. There's a greatest hits you can get, which has, you know, sort of the frontline roll call songs on it across several albums. This one is a great one. Yeah, Ann Peebles, just a bright spot in the voices of the early '70s, mid '70s, in R&B music. What a miracle of a thing.
Yeah, she definitely deserves to have the spotlight shined on her a little more, maybe, especially just keeping her legacy alive. So those reissues again are on Fat Possum Records. Is that what you said?
Fat Possum Records, yeah,
Yeah.
they're bringing a lot of them out. You can get Syl Johnson, O.V. Wright. These people had great songs like "Take Me to the River" and "Ace of Spades" and "Pouring Water on it," pouring gasoline, or I mean, pouring water on a drowning man. I can't even talk. And so many great songs, and they're all Hodges Brothers and Grimes backed. Most of them just ridiculous recordings.
Yeah, I love these songs. She has writer's credit on two of them. And like you were saying, they really go, they really don't pull their punches in the sense of soul music being about raw emotions that run the spectrum. How Strong as a Woman is kind of an amazing anthem, you know. Like you said, some of them are a little more raw, and some of them are just kind of sweet and tender, like almost like the Slip, Trip, and Fall in Love. To me, although they definitely don't have a Motown sound, it's much more southern and kind of like it's got that Memphis thing. It's a little harder hitting, a little more raw, a little less polished and produced than probably what the Motown was sounding like at that point, obviously. But that first song does have a little bit of that kind of buoyancy to it or something.
Oh
Um,
yeah, she does that. I pity the fool that, in my mind, I sort of associate, or a lot of people might, with Bobby Blue Bland. That's another one of those signature sort of old R&B where blues kind of went right into R&B, and there was that blend there for a while before the modern sound really kicked into life that we're thinking about now. But yeah, I pity the fool, and we got to shout the horn section. I mean, Wayne Jackson, you know. Let's
I
read them out for, you know, Andrew Love, you know, those guys,
I'll
Ed
just say,
Logan, just
yeah,
woo.
on that song, "I Pity the Fool," which I read in the liner notes just now, was actually I was thinking when I was listening to the record, like that song pops out as just being it hits so hard, and the horns especially. There's one part in that where there's actually unison, what sounds like just quarter notes, and the whole and it, any other band could do that, it would just sound limp probably, but when they do it, it's like I don't even know how to describe it. It just kind of spins your head around. It's ridiculous.
Oh
And
yeah, that sound.
so reading in there, I realized that was the lead single, which makes total sense that that was the single for the record. And the other fun fact that we discovered in there together, which was kind of really cool, is she was the signing to High Records right before Al Green got signed. And we, in fact, in our first 8 deep stacks, did the Al Green record that was on that label. So it's kind of a bit of a accidental, you know, serendipity or whatever running through some of these selections. Yeah, thanks for bringing this to my attention. And yeah, anyone that's interested, I got to get my own copies. I don't have any vinyl. I don't think I have any Ann Peebles on vinyl in my collection, so I got to change that. I got to get myself one of those records, either the greatest hits or maybe this one we're talking about. But I'm gonna
For
play. It.
real.
I'm gonna play it around the house today because it just sounds so good. Yeah, thanks for sending it my way.
Just trying to help. I probably found a thrift shop and said, yeah, East Nashville needs this one right here. So I threw it in the mail, and then now here we are talking about it. It's
Yeah,
a good thing. High Records brings it for all of us.
yeah, that's what it is. Ann Peebles. Thanks for checking out our weekly web series, Deep Stacks, brought to you by Big X Music, a conversation each week with my dad, 40-plus year veteran of the music industry, founder of Horizon Records and concert promoter, where I sit down and we talk together about the music we're listening to. Please subscribe, leave us a comment down below, and join the conversation.